Durud, in this video I'll show you 17 methods to keep your PS4 cool and quiet. Why the PS4 is loud and hot. If your console is clean of dust and you did place it on an open area but you still hear a lot of fan noise, it comes to fan controller. PS4 cooling method is similar to some parts of PC, which means there is a specific dynamic curve to control temperature and the speed of your console fan. This dynamic curve can be controlled by different games and applications, and depending on what they demand, console fan can be faster or slower. Method 1. Use a LAN cable instead of Wi-Fi. By using a LAN cable instead of Wi-Fi, your console will be cooler. And not just that, but your internet speed will be higher and your ping will be lower. Even if you use a 20 meters cable, you can still get amazing results in compared to Wi-Fi. Method 2. Close all of the applications. Whenever you want to play games, close all applications like Netflix, Spotify and everything else. Because when you start a game, those apps will be suspended and they impact CPU in the background and they use a little bit of console RAM. Here you can see how much noise this PS4 is making on home page. Now if I just go to Spotify and start the application, you can see the fan is already spinning faster because even a small music application can push the console and make so much heat for it. Method 3. Log out of any other user. If you have multiple users on your console and you don't need them, just log out and play on your main user. Because when you are logged into multiple users, CPU and software needs more processing in the background. For example, new notifications and many other things which can affect the game performance. Method 4. Disconnect the PS camera. If you don't stream usually or you don't play VR games, just unplug it. Because PS camera is used in the background for things like face recognition and microphone, which can impact CPU performance more or less. Method 5. Make a special stand. If you are asking me about buying PS4 stands, I disagree. Instead, I recommend making a special stand for it. On a normal PS4, most heat is on the right side and most of fan air comes out of the right side as well. So this is the hottest part of the console. When you use the console horizontally, if you add something underneath it, you can give it some room to get cool faster because the heat underneath the console doesn't have anywhere to go. And if it's on a surface which can increase the heat, consider taking your PS4 and put it on a desk or something else which doesn't cause more heat. Method 6. Avoid UI actions. When you are in a game, if you take any actions like going to console home and capture gallery or even making a party, it needs more processing and it causes more heat. So I recommend to not do them if they are not necessary. You can also make party in quick menu when you are in the game, which is faster and better. For answering messages, you can always use your phone. Method 7. Don't use dynamic background. I have a ton of them, but the thing is, dynamic backgrounds needs more graphics and CPU processing than a static picture. So if you are really looking for less noise, avoid them. Method 8. Turn HDCP off. Unless your TV gets issues and it doesn't show the picture, you can turn this feature off. I did explain what HDCP is in this video and you can check it out from the above card. It needs some processing over HDMI. You need to turn it on when you want to use apps like Netflix or Spotify, but when you want to play games, you can simply turn it off. Method 9. Use external HDD or replace internal HDD with an SSD. If you are not planning to buy a PS5 for the next 2 years, you can replace internal HDD to an SSD, which is faster and it makes no noise and it doesn't increase the heat. But if you can't afford it, get a 260GB version and combine it with an external HDD. Method 10. Stop downloads and uploads. When you wanna play games, it's better to stop downloads and uploads. They need to be written on your hard drive and it makes hard drive slower, hotter and uses CPU power for whole process. You can download your games on rest mode and it will be much faster. Method 11. Use a huge external fan. If your room isn't cool enough overall or the PS4 isn't in a good situation, a huge external fan can help a lot to remove heat from PS4 and they are not as noisy as PS4 itself. Method 12. Play at the highest resolution. Some people say if you play on 480p it can make console run better, but the fact is PS4 is not your PC. It can make it even worse. PS4 will render the same resolution no matter which output you select, and if a game is for example 1080p, when you choose 480p, console will render 1080p for the game and then it needs to downscale the output to fit your TV, and I believe it's one step more processing. Correct me if I'm wrong. By the way, 99% of people don't understand what I said at the beginning. Durud, if you understand it, let me know in the comments below. What if your PS4 is still loud? It's good to know some games put fan close to max speed no matter what or how cool the console is. For example, The Last of Us 2 or Uncharted 4. Because they use the maximum power of the console, they don't risk anything. In this case, I recommend using a headset or earphones with your controller so you will less likely to hear much noise. Method 14. Trade for a PS4 Pro if not PS5. PS4 FAT and Slim are really old. If you are not planning to buy PS5 for the next 2 to 3 years, you can trade it for Pro version which is less noisy and has higher quality. Method 15. Turn off PS Remote Play. Wait, even if you don't use it, Remote Play can be accessed at any time when the console is on or it's in the rest mode, which means there are some background processing and you just need to turn it off in the settings to make sure it won't push the console in the background. Method 16. Turn off voice operation. If you don't use voice commands to control your PS4 like this, PlayStation, start notifications, open downloads, I recommend to turn it off because it's always waiting for your beautiful voice in the background, and who knows, maybe your government is waiting there too. Simply turn it off in the settings to make sure both you and the console are safe. Method 17. Turn HDMI device link off. This option is supposed to turn PS4 on by the TV or turn it off when the TV goes off. It simply sends some signals through HDMI port to do that, and if you don't use it, you can simply turn it off. There is one important tip about your TV or monitor which if you learn it, you can get much better quality. To learn that tip for your TV or monitor, I highly recommend you to check this video next and learn how to boost video quality while watching movies or playing games.